قاف والقرآن المجيد بل عجبوا أن جاءهم منذر منهم فقال الكافرون هذا شيء عجيب أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا ذلك رجع بعيد قد علمنا ما تنقص الأرض منهم وعندنا كتاب حفيظ بل كذبوا بالحق لما جاءهم فهم في أمر مريج أفلم ينظروا إلى السماء فوقهم كيف بنيناها وزيناها وما لها من فروج والأرض مددناها وألقينا فيها رواسي وأنبتنا فيها من كل زوج بهيج تبصرة وذكرى لكل عبد منيب ونزلنا من السماء ماء مباركا فأنبتنا به جنات وحب الحصيد والنخل باسقات لها طلع نضيد رزقا للعباد وأحيينا به بلدة ميتا كذلك الخروج كذبت قبلهم قوم نوح وأصحاب الرس وثمود وعاد وفرعون وإخوان لوط وأصحاب الأيكة وقوم تبع كل كذب الرسل فحق وعيد أفعينا بالخلق الأول بل هم في لبس من خلق جديد ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد إذ يتلقى المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب
In the course of studying ancient Egypt, it became evident that some of the pharaohs and royalty had oblong skulls. Could this be the remnant of the giants? The Discovery Channel reconstructed the face of Tutankhamun and Nefertiti and completely ignored their skulls. Why was something so obvious ignored? These skulls don't fit into their evolutional theories, so they simply ignored them.
Final secrets revealed. The Golden Pharaoh lives
The
on.
Egyptian boy King Tutankhamun was artificially brought to life by the Discovery Channel. They completely ignored his oblong skull and altered it to look more modern. The last photo is an X-ray of his real skull. This video clip is from the Discovery Channel documentary called Resurrecting Nefertiti. Just like the Tutankhamun video clip, the skull was altered to look more like a modern head. There wasn't a single word about the oblong skull. Discovery Channel is a strong supporter of the theory of evolution. They will filter out any artifact which suggests a different theory, just by ignoring it. This filtering technique is common with evolutionists. In all fairness, it is also used by many creationists. At the end of this clip, I have inserted photos of the real bust of Nefertiti. She was the wife of Akhenaten, the father of Tutankhamun. All of his children have the same trait and can be traced back through the royal bloodline. The Nephilim have huge oblong skulls and gigantic brains, which accounted for their advanced knowledge. After the flood, the remnant of the giants were determined to carry on the practice of bending the head, in attempts to duplicate their traits. We know that many men and women worship these giants as gods. Ancient Mayans credited Kukulkan for their knowledge of astronomy. He was a giant all-knowing god, and bore no resemblance to his own dark-skinned people.
The Maya described Kukulkan as a tall Caucasian man with long flowing silky white hair and beard and blazing deep blue eyes. He was said to have an elongated skull, and in fact the Mayan women used to strap boards onto their infants' developing skulls to elongate the skull, and we have artifacts of this nature.
The Mayan mothers would bend the heads of certain infants, those of royal bloodline or destined to be priests, to emulate Kukulkan's oblong skull. It was Kukulkan who taught this practice in order to carry on his traits. The same story is true with the Incas and their giant gods. The story of the Aztecs is an exact duplicate of the Mayans, except their god was named Quetzalcoatl, and just like Kukulkan, he was tall, had white skin, blue eyes, and long hair. Jewish legends suggest that Nimrod was angered at God for destroying the giants. He found writings and structures of the Nephilim and wanted to re-establish their power. Some scholars have suggested he was the first pharaoh, who is called Narmer. These large skulls are seen in many other pharaohs and royalty, but not in the common man. Numerous hieroglyphs and statues depict these royal skulls. Could this larger brain provide an answer to their advanced knowledge? The skulls throughout South America show the same trait. Similar skulls are found in many other countries. It is worldwide. We know the Egyptians and South American tribes practiced the ritual of bending the head at youth, in order to prolong this trait. It was only done with a priest or a VIP. Just like the Egyptians, they wanted to continue the royal bloodline. Does this suggest a common ancestry? Yes, it does. All my research points back to an advanced civilization over 12,000 years ago.
According to Nazca myth, the gods descended from the sky. They had these odd, elongated skulls. So what did mankind do? People living at Nazca, they tried to imitate the gods. And so they put boards around the newborn babies' heads so that the skulls would grow into this long shape.
We know from scripture a few of the giants did escape the flood, but with restrained characteristics. As they breed with common women, their children were much smaller, an example being Goliath and his 4 brothers. The following news clip is about a discovery in the Siberian province of Russia.
Вряд ли древние знали о нейрохирургии мозга, вряд ли, но, возможно, они пытались каким-то образом развивать отдельные нервные какие-то качества головного мозга.
Это группа людей, которые представляли собой, скажем так, живой прибор, определяющий наличие, например, опасности, или могли делать метеопрогноз.
There are other groups of beings in existence other than humans, and on past shows we've discussed how there's really no reason to think that humans are all there is, especially when we've got all these fossils like the Cro-Magnon man fossil that we discussed, I think 2 weeks ago it was, and also the conehead skulls. That's one of the most fascinating things we've ever discussed on this show, all over museums in South America and Greece and so forth, and you can't get an anthropologist here in America to even talk about them, amazingly. So you wonder if there's an advanced race, since we have these fossil evidence for groups with